There exists a type of creature in this world that has been discovered by only a few people, yet has never been officially confirmed. We collectively refer to such creatures as unidentified mysterious animals, abbreviated as UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA series. In this episode, we bring you a strange and unknown creature from the state of Ohio in the United States, the Frogman. The Frogman, also known as the Loveland Frogman, gets its name because all reported sightings come from a city called Loveland. According to descriptions, this is a creature with the head and webbed limbs of a frog, yet it is able to walk upright like a human. Its body is covered in wrinkled skin, it has no hair, and it stands at around 4 feet tall, roughly the height of a child about 7 or 8 years old. Sightings of this creature can be traced back to the 1950s. One day in May of 1955, at around 3:30 in the early morning, an unidentified businessman was driving along a remote road by the Little Miami River in Loveland. As he passed a bridge, he noticed 3 bipedal reptile-like creatures gathered by the roadside. They were described as reptile-like because they had clear physical differences from humans. He stated that the creatures were about 3 to 4 feet tall, covered in gray, leathery skin, with webbed hands and feet, and frog-like heads without hair but with deep wrinkles. Out of curiosity, the businessman got out of his car and hid at a distance to observe them, noticing that the 3 creatures seemed to be communicating with each other. Just as he was about to quietly leave, one of the creatures suddenly raised a wand-like cylindrical object above its head, and sparks shot out from the end of it, frightening the businessman into fleeing immediately. There are, however, 2 other variations of this story. One version says that after seeing the creatures on the bridge, the businessman did not stop but drove away immediately. Another version claims the incident happened under the bridge, where the businessman stopped and honked his horn, angering the creatures. One of them jumped onto his hood and let out a hoarse roar, causing the businessman to faint on the spot. As the story dates back many years, the truth can no longer be verified. However, the Loveland incidents did not end there. 17 years later, in 1972, 2 more sightings occurred within the same month. In the early morning of March 3rd of that year, at around 1 o'clock, a Loveland police officer named Ray Shockey was driving along Riverside Drive toward the city when he saw a creature cross the road in front of his car. He claimed that due to icy conditions, he was driving slowly and carefully, which allowed his headlights to fully illuminate the creature. According to his description, the creature had lizard-like skin, stood 3 to 4 feet tall, and weighed about 50 to 75 pounds. Although it is unclear how he estimated its weight, the creature crouched like a frog, as if staring at him, then stood upright, climbed over a guardrail, and jumped into the river. After the incident, Shockey called another officer, Mark Matthews, to report what he had seen. Soon after, on March 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day, Matthews also encountered the creature. That day, while driving along Kemper Road, near the Little Miami River, he suddenly saw what looked like a dead animal lying across the icy road. As he got out of his car to move it, the creature suddenly jumped up and took on a crouched posture. Startled, Matthews drew his handgun and fired a shot at it. At this point, the story again diverges into different versions. One version says the creature was hit, limped over the guardrail, and leaped into the river, disappearing from sight. Another version claims the creature was killed on the spot, and Matthews brought the body back to show Shockey, confirming that it was the same creature seen 2 weeks earlier. Considering that Shockey's earlier description included an estimate of the creature's weight, the second version may seem somewhat more plausible. The final reported sighting occurred on August 3rd, 2016, when Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend were near Madeira Road playing Pokemon Go, an augmented reality mobile game that requires players to move around in the real world to discover and capture virtual creatures. As they approached Isabella Lake, they encountered a real creature that could not fit into any virtual pocket. Jacobs described it as a genuine giant frog, standing about 4 feet tall and walking on its hind legs. He also provided photos and video footage taken at the time. When the brightness and contrast are adjusted and the footage is slowed down, although the lighting conditions are not ideal, it is still possible to see a humanoid figure standing in the water. Based on the reflection of the eyes in the camera flash, it can also be determined that this is definitely not a human. Once the footage was reported, it sparked widespread skepticism. In an effort to convince others, Jacobs even swore an oath that he truly saw the creature. Could such a bizarre life form, combining traits of frogs and humans, really exist? First, looking at these incidents, the 1955 sighting is the most ambiguous. During research, many different versions of the story were found, with uncertainty surrounding the identity of the witness, who has been described as a businessman, a traveler, or even a missionary. There are also discrepancies in the number of creatures seen, with most versions describing 3 figures on the bridge, while others mention 4. The time and location also vary, and since no physical evidence was left behind, the credibility of this event is highly questionable. As for the 1972 sightings, there is a later development. After the 2016 Pokemon incident, Officer Matthews contacted a reporter and stated that what he had actually seen back then was a large iguana missing its tail, possibly an escaped pet from a nearby residence. Iguanas, particularly the green iguana, are large arboreal lizards that can grow to over 2 meters in length and live for up to 10 years. In this context, green iguanas are indeed among the most popular reptile pets. However, the question remains as to why Matthews chose to change his statement more than 40 years later. And based on the photos provided by Jacobs, it is difficult to associate the creature with a green iguana. Setting aside the older cases, the 2016 sighting is the most intriguing. During research, it was found that many sources classify this event as a hoax. This is likely due to a statement in a wiki entry claiming that the incident was caused by a local high school student wearing a homemade frog costume. However, this actually refers to a completely different event that occurred in 2020, which was clearly staged and fundamentally different from the 2016 sighting. Therefore, there is still no conclusive evidence proving that the creature does not exist. Regarding possible explanations, many people support Matthews' claim that it was a green iguana, while others link the frogman to another cryptid. About 100 miles from Loveland, along the Ohio River in Kentucky, multiple witnesses in 1975 reported seeing a massive lizard about 15 feet long, known as the Milton lizard. According to witnesses, it had large frog-like eyes, a grayish-white underside, and a body covered with black and white stripes and small spots. Sightings were concentrated in July and August. However, this theory is not very reliable, as the Milton lizard has not been reported again since 1975. Another theory suggests that the frogman is actually a coyote or other mammal suffering from mange. This explanation is common in discussions of other unconfirmed creatures. According to a distribution report from 1978, coyotes were present in southwestern Ohio at the time, making it possible that the so-called frogman was actually a hairless, diseased mammal misidentified due to poor nighttime visibility. The name Frogman itself is also thought to have been influenced by the 1954 film Creature from the Black Lagoon. However, this explanation is not entirely convincing, as witnesses are generally capable of distinguishing canine features, and the ability to stand upright is not explained by this theory. Another hypothesis leans toward mythology. As early as the late 17th century, French explorers arriving in the Little Miami region received warnings from the local Miami people about a creature called the Shawnee Hoax, described as a frog-like humanoid, lacking a nose and hair, with dark, uneven skin that secretes mucus. It was said to guard the riverbanks and drive away intruders, and was believed to be immortal, retreating into the cool waters of the river to heal when injured. However, this account is also problematic due to its age, as people at the time had limited understanding of natural phenomena. As for UFO and extraterrestrial theories, they are commonly associated with almost all humanoid unknown creatures and will not be discussed further here. In summary, the overall likelihood of this creature's existence appears to be quite low. If the sightings described only a giant frog, it might be plausible, similar to other aquatic cryptids mentioned before. However, the key issue lies in the humanoid form and the ability to stand upright. Notably, none of the sightings describe the creature moving by hopping, which is characteristic of frogs. Frogs are amphibians, and developing the ability to walk upright would require a long evolutionary process, likely driven by adaptation to terrestrial life. Yet all reported sightings are closely tied to riverbanks, making the amphibian hypothesis less convincing. Additionally, in the United States, mysterious creatures have become an important part of local tourism, and combined with the vague descriptions in earlier reports, it is possible that the frogman is a fabricated entity created to add an air of mystery to certain regions. As for the most unusual 2016 sighting, a closer look suggests that the reflection on the water indicates that the creature's eyes were emitting light themselves rather than merely reflecting a camera flash, which could point toward a higher likelihood of a staged prank. However, this cannot be stated with absolute certainty, as the witness swore to the authenticity of his experience. Regardless of the truth, the frogman has already become a popular local urban legend, and its actual existence may no longer matter. After all, the unknown will always be greater than the known, and that is precisely the charm of UMA. That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your thoughts.